Currently, there are three worlds that you live in. There is the real world. Look around you now. Real life. Then there is the digital world, the virtual world, which is your online avatar. For example, on Instagram, there's the Instagram you. And then there's a third world, which is the dream fantasy world. So there are three worlds and there are three versions of you. Once more, the real you, the virtual you, the dream you. I've seen people, and I've even fallen into this trap at times, who value their online avatar over the real life you. Meaning, hey, it doesn't matter if I don't look too good. There's some filters I can throw on and I'll look pretty good online. As long as my avatar looks good, does it matter the real me? Taking it even further, I've seen people who rarely interact with people in the real world and only interact online. You could argue that we are in a whole society to some extent that just does catfishing. You've heard about that, right? You're pretending to be something that you're not. I know a lot of people, they wake up and their entire day is them in their pajama sweatpants, just on their phone, scrolling, yet their social media looks amazing. Literally amazing. And they value, once more, I'm doing well because look, the avatar is doing well online. It's getting a lot of likes. But what about the real you? That's no different than playing a video game. The Instagram video game, the social media video game. Look how well the character in the game's doing. What about you? Doesn't matter the character in the game. No, you got to value you. This is why you'll hear a lot of people who became video game addicts. The way they were able to snap out of it is they realized, wait a minute, I'm investing so much time and energy into this game. What if I were to take that and treat real life like a video game? Instead of leveling up some digital character, what about leveling up me? And that's something to also realize. Self-sabotage, procrastination. If any of you play tons and tons of video games, you're not lazy. You're dedicating tons of time and energy towards the game. Let that land. You're actually incredibly successful. If you're someone who can just clock hours and hours and hours playing a game, that's so much focus and time, you have the work ethic. The problem is you need to learn how to transfer that over to the real world. It's not missing, it's there. People are always like, oh, they're so lazy. No, they're not. Do you know how much time and effort it takes to do that? So the key is transferring it over. Now, the third one, though, is the dream fantasy land. The dream fantasy avatar, and that's scarier than even the online one. This is also where the term dream sexual comes into play. Have you heard about this, dream sexuals? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a good one. A dream sexual is someone who experiences attraction towards their dreams, towards the one-day version of themselves, towards mentally created fantasies, and that's what they fall in love with. I'm attracted to my dreams. And this here, although it's kind of funny, dream sexual is a lot of people. Most of you are probably dream sexuals. You are in love with the fantasy of one day. One day, when I finally do X, Y, Z, when I finally say hi to this person, when I finally take action, when I finally wake up, when things finally change, then, and you bask in that. And it's no different than watching porn. You're just sitting there with your dreams, one day, one day, one day. Think of all the fantasies, the self-hypnotizing that you do. I remember doing this a ton. When I was younger, for example, extremely shy in school, there was a few people I actually had crushes on, never said hi, way too scared. And I'd go home after school and listen to emo pop punk music, right? Like Blink-182, things like that. And it'd be like, when you say hi to the girl, and I'd cry myself to sleep in those emo nights. And during that time, I actually looked forward to it. It was my guilty pleasure. It was sad, but it was my comfort zone. And I'd go home and I'd play the songs and I'd literally picture these made-up scenarios. Like, oh, if I were to bump into this person in the hallway in high school and then I said this, then this would happen. I'd be like, oh yeah. No different than porn. Just, oh yeah, one day. Terrible. right? One day when I move, then this will change. One day when I meet my partner, I'll finally be complete. One day when I lose the weight, this will happen. One day. Screw that. Stop living in that fantasy land. Stop valuing the fantasy you over the real you. Stop valuing the virtual social media you over the real you. The more you unplug from that, you stop fueling that, and you start valuing what is, the closer you are to actually start changing your life. Because that's not life. It's a show. It really is. And don't fall for it either. Because if you're in that world, especially with social media, is you will make so many unfair comparisons. So many of them. You'll look at people, what they post, and you will fill in the blanks. And that's also part of, again, the way we self-hypnotize. You might see a couple videos of someone, and you will paint a picture of what you think their life looks like. And then you will compare your life to that. We also apply it to ourselves. We self-hypnotize in terms of who we think we are. We apply it to our past. We create all this meaning out of nothing. Where right now, you can even look at your past, and it probably makes sense in this chronological story-like way. Then this happened, and that links to this, and it led to this, and it's like this whole movie. That's all self-created. You create these links. There's also that famous saying, and you can learn about this in a book called Crucial Conversations, that goes facts versus stories. We create so many stories as opposed to bringing our awareness to the facts. For example, say, this is a famous one, you were working for me, I'm your boss, and it's Friday, 5 p.m. And you're about to pack up and go home, and right before the weekend, I go up to you and I'm like, hey, we can't talk about it now, but Monday, come see me first thing in the morning. Have a good weekend. What's he probably going to start thinking? Oh my God, am I going to get fired? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Paints the story. What are the facts? The boss just wants to see you on Monday. It could be the Monday he comes in, he's like, hey, you did great, here's a promotion. But we paint these stories. How much will you think is just a story? How much is actually fact? How much of how you even view a person is story versus fact? Let that land. How much of your life is actually a story? So many people will really self-hypnotize themselves into these really dark states too. They create this horror movie of their lives, where their entire existence and even life is just so horrible, and how they're in the middle of it, and it's like this crazy Saw movie, and they'll have moments where they snap out and they're like, what's going on? Be aware. When you're triggered too, it'll hijack the self-hypnosis to the max, and you will not want to drop it. You've all experienced this where, say someone makes you really angry. You find out some news right now that makes you really, really mad, okay? And then a little while after, you get news that it was actually fake news. There's no reason to be mad. Are you just going to stop being mad like that? Yes or no? No, you're going to be like, but still, why did I even, like you're still going to find a way to fuel it. Get it? That's when you're triggered. That same energy will transfer into the stories and self-hypnosis that we create. We create, again, these whole little movies of our lives. Same with social media, and we just live in our heads like that. Snap out of it. Really snap out of it. The scarier part, though, which I will mention, and I experienced this when I moved to Los Angeles, I did a bunch of dead-end jobs at first. And one of them was in this car warranty call center that I worked for 2-3 months. Hated the job, hated it. It was soul-sucking. And the way that I would get through it is I would literally try to go below consciousness throughout the day. Like just get into this kind of derp zone where time would fly by. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's over. Just kind of go through the motions. Be careful if that's you. Don't get into the derp. And you can audit how present you are in life by how many core memories you have. If you reflect back on the 2, 3, 4, 5 years, if there's a lot of key moments that surface, okay, you're living your present, you're pushing the edge. If you're just living Groundhog's Day, every day is the same, you're not going to have many memories. It'll just kind of blur into it. Like, I don't know what I did last week, last month, last year. Just the same, more of this. Something to be aware of. But this is huge. It's get out of this self-hypnosis. And get out of the negative and the positive where you overblow who you are. Because that's also the ego seeping in. I remember falling into this trap too. Things start going well and I create all this meaning around it. Oh, things are going well. That means I'm this type of person now. I'm this and I deserve this and this is why it's happened. It's like, no. Facts, stories. Facts, stories. You could even bring it to fear of what people think of you. We're like, okay, say someone judges you and doesn't approve of you. What's the fact? Person doesn't approve of you, which will happen. That's natural. That's life. You're not meant to get along with everyone. But what's the story that we then create? Because this person doesn't approve of me, that means I am an inferior being. I suck. It means I'm not good enough. It means I should have been aborted. We paint the picture. Yeah, I go extreme because that's what your mind does. Goes extreme. Maybe I should just die. So your mind says, should have never been born. I'm a burden to the world. No. That's a story. What are the facts? Someone just doesn't approve of you, so what? It's like the boss. Hey, let's see you Monday morning. No, I'm going to get fired. What? What are you talking about? It's just that insane. It's more the self-hypnosis. Now, the self-hypnosis will also have to do with the themes that you're in. If you're someone who's stuck in fear, you're going to create all these fear-like storylines. Someone in grief, you're going to create all this grief storyline. And no matter what happens, by the way, and it will hijack your focus, your RAS. I'm sure you know of this, reticular activating system. You can look it up. Basically, your selective focus. Meaning right now, there's tons of data in this room. Too much to focus on at once. You can't focus on everything. So you're going to have selective focus where you're going to tune into what has value to you. The classic example is right now, look around this room, and I want you to notice 5 things that are yellow. 5 things that are yellow. You have them? Now close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes and tell me 5 things that are red. Ooh, nothing. Why? Because you're focused on the yellow. We do this. We will look, and this is how self-fulfilling prophecies happen. We will look for proof of what we already believe. If you're in a state, for example, of fear, I'm scared, it's going to hijack your focus. What has value to you? Threats. And you're going to look for threats, reasons to be afraid. As you see reasons to be afraid, what happens to how you feel? You get more scared. Look for more reasons. More scared. More reasons. More scared. And you're entrenched in it. Get it? The same with who you think you are. You're only looking for things that are aligned with your current identity, what you think you deserve, your comfort zone, and you will block off or twist the opposite. Take this example, purely self-esteem wise. Say we take 3 people, one with low self-esteem, one with mid-level self-esteem, one with high self-esteem. And all 3 of those people receive a compliment. So the person with low self-esteem, someone walks up to them and says, hey, I like your shirt. How are they going to interpret that? Not as a compliment. Because they have low self-esteem, they're going to distort that and view it as a condescending remark. Because they don't deserve a compliment, or so they think. So instead of, hey, I like your shirt, how do they hear it? Nice shirt, loser. That's how they hear it. Oh, they're making fun of my shirt. Someone with a mid-level of self-esteem, they will at least be able to acknowledge it's a compliment. But they won't be able to fully let it land. How will they respond to it? Nice shirt. Like, oh, this shirt? It's nothing. It's nothing. They'll downplay it. They can't say, oh, thank you. And that's someone with high self-esteem. Nice shirt. Thanks. They let it land. For that very reason, your selective focus will twist things and make sure that it only enters in alignment with what you believe about the world and yourself. Now, this is quite scary if you think of self-sabotage too, by the way. And one of the reasons, a common comment that I get from clients that I coach is that they suddenly start seeing opportunities around them that they were previously blind to. Why is that? For that very reason. The self-sabotage that you are aware of in you right now is a very small portion. You're actually lucky if you're able to see self-sabotage that you're doing. Most of it, just like the compliment that turns into an insulting comment, is how we interpret opportunities. Currently, there are opportunities around you that your mind is distorting into non-opportunities. Self-sabotage, at least you see there's an opportunity and you just can't do it, but you see it. Meaning that you are self-sabotaging right now in ways you aren't even aware of. And how freaky and scary is that? And it's also why as you do this type of work, some of these opportunities appear, and they were opportunities that were always there. But for some reason, you didn't see them or you didn't take action towards them. And a lot of progress is that way. Looking back at your journey now, there's probably a lot of things you could have done sooner, much faster. It was always there. It was always right in front of my face. What's going on? Hey, selective focus, RAS, staying aligned, creating stories, living in this trance completely disconnected from reality. It can go so extreme where I had a client I coached in Amsterdam, right here, funny enough, back in 2012. And he wanted to work on his confidence and social skills. And we went out and started talking to people. And everyone loved this guy. He was great. People were smiling, having a blast. And I talked to him after. I'm like, so how was that? What did he say? That was terrible. Everyone hated me. I was like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, no one liked me. So the next day we tried again. Everyone loves this guy, smiling, laughing. Did you see the smiles? What are you messing with me? No, no one liked me. So on the third day, I had a friend take his camera at that point. This is before the whole every phone had a camera. And he snapped a couple pictures of people smiling when this guy's talking to them. So at the end, of course, I asked him, how was that? It sucked. What about these pictures? And he says, smile, 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 smile. What was his answer? Photoshop. No, but you could visibly see how his mind would literally block that off and only tune into what made sense for him. In his mind, I'm a loser who no one likes. And I'm going to look for proof of that to make sense of it. And if there's a smile not aligned with how I view myself, I'm going to block it off, distort it, or focus on the negative. Or even if they smiled, how would his mind perhaps interpret it? Oh, it was a pity smile. It was a pity smile. It was just a polite, they didn't really like me. It was just like, ha, 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 yeah, that was the smile. You can also see this with yourself. Do you let success ever land? When you do well, do you celebrate? Do you give yourself credit? I've seen a lot of people create these stories where whenever they win, the way that the meaning they put onto it is, oh, it's just luck. Oh, I won because someone else messed up. Oh, I just happened to be there. They don't give themselves full credit. No, take the win. So start being aware of this. Look at what you tune into most of the time. Look at what state you find yourself into most of the time. The same where if you're just stuck feeling sorry for yourself, you're going to forever look for reasons to feel sorry for yourself. If you're stuck on self-improvement, you're going to keep looking for things to fix that are broken in you. You can even get addicted to feeling broken. That's a scary one. And you can reflect on that. What if there's nothing broken within you? What if there's nothing to fix? What gets triggered? People are like, no, there's forever something to fix. The same with self-sabotage. You're just hooked on this comfort zone. You will push away things that allow you to grow, and you would rather live in your dreams about it. When I do it one day. And people stay like that. Funny enough, it's like that movie, The Matrix, right? Plugged into the virtual reality. We do that with dream sexuality. Here's me, but I live not only in the virtual world, but in my own mind in the dream world. Yay! Screw that. Make it real. Take all the excitement and fantasy from that dream world, bring it to reality. Get creative, take action. Same with the virtual world, take action. Ideally, you reach a point where your real life is more exciting than anything you post online. What you post online is like the B version of your life. That's what I do. I look at my Instagram, and of course it's reels and educational, but anything I post in the stories is like compared to my real life. And that's how it should be. You should be more excited about real life because that's real. Something to think about.